All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Me here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Lindsey Buckingham continues to talk about how Fleetwood Mac should go out with a bang, meaning that everybody should put their differences aside and do one last tour to honor the legacy of the band. And I think by doing these promotional appearances where he's promoting his brand new record is really becoming kind of a springboard for a conversation about a Fleetwood Mac reunion. Again, Lindsey isn't shy about focusing on one individual who last time around decided to not want Lindsey in the band. Now, Lindsey is really starting to sort of parse words and come up with interesting ways to account for what happened, saying in that context, he could almost understand why she felt that way and why that occurred. But now that we're out of that context, maybe there's some regret there. Now, he's been implying this for quite some time. And when Christine McVie emailed Lindsey Buckingham supposedly a couple of years back, where she said, "Dear Lindsey, this wasn't of my doing, and I think she regrets her decision that she did this, but the bed has been made, so to speak, and now we're all going to suffer with Mike Campbell and Neil Finn." No, she didn't say that part. I just put that in there. And I know, look, there were a lot of fans last time around who are like, hey, what's the problem here? Neil Finn, Mike Campbell. I'm hoping that we can just put that behind us, right? The casual chemistry and the dirty knobs, the Mike Campbell promoting the dirty knobs while they're out on tour. And all the sophisticated Fleetwood Mac people are like, ew, the dirty knobs. Lindsey Buckingham would not be in a band like that, right? Well, again, Lindsey Buckingham is a great songwriter. He carries himself a little bit differently than Mike Campbell. But Mike Campbell, again, he's a great guitarist in a different world, in a different context. If we want to focus on context, I think Mike Campbell worked well with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and has been a guest on a number of different projects. And, he's done well for himself. Didn't he write Boys of Summer too? The song that Petty turned down and then Don Henley turned it into a mega hit. So, and I think it's a better song for Don Henley, but every so often someone's going to have a stroke of creative genius. And in the case of Lindsey Buckingham, that stroke of creative genius is pretty much every single time the guy sits down to play or write a song. What's interesting is that Lindsey has turned this into like a full court press. Like when he does the interview, he's not shy. He's not afraid of saying Fleetwood Mac and its legacy needs to be honored because the last time around, as Lindsey calls it, that cover band, that did not honor the band's legacy. And I kind of, obviously, if you're a fan of this, even if you look at everybody's diminished abilities, and no one's going to say that Christine McVie can do what she used to do. I honestly think the last tour was really difficult for her, and a lot of people didn't notice that. And I think she made reference to that, saying that we're all getting a bit old. John McVie wants to hang out on the boat. And she even said, I believe she said something like, I'm getting kind of old. I don't think Lindsey Buckingham wants to stop. I think he wants to continue even after one more go round with Fleetwood Mac. But as we get toward the end of this year, I think if you announced a Fleetwood Mac concert tour for next year with the Rumors lineup intact, including Stevie Nicks, that would be something people would buy tickets for. And they would do it for a number of reasons. They would do it to see Lindsey and Stevie on stage again. And I think there would be a real public reunion. I think it would be cathartic for both of them. Stevie Nicks, I don't know if she does regret what she did. Publicly, she certainly hasn't said so, although now she's saying things like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't give anyone an ultimatum. But at the time, I think she did. And I think Irving Azoff and what he had to say about it sort of backed up the idea that she did basically say it's my way or the highway. And recruiting Neil Finn and recruiting Mike Campbell, they recruited Mike Campbell because of Stevie Nicks's connection with Tom Petty. And I think Neil Finn was a friend of Mick's, and Mick probably thought, hey, why not, right? We'll just bring these two guys in and hope for the best. And quite honestly, like the last time they tried to replace Lindsey Buckingham with two guys, it didn't work. So I'm optimistic that something's going to happen, because Lindsey is throwing out olive branches, even though he's still kind of throwing barbs out toward Stevie as far as blaming her for what happened, but kind of reading her mind and saying things like, I think she's lonely. I think, if she had to do it again, she probably wouldn't do this again. In that context, at that moment, she decided to do something that maybe she regrets. So I know this is a lot of psychoanalysis here of what might or might not be. I can tell you this much, though. Lindsey Buckingham has put out a quality album, and if he's got more songwriting arrows in the quiver, he might want to offer those up to Mick Fleetwood and say, hey, let's make one last Fleetwood Mac album, and let's go out on tour to support that album with the lineup intact. Hopefully Stevie Nicks has at least one song in her arsenal that she can present, that Lindsey can clean up and dress up and overproduce and make it a Fleetwood Mac track, because that's really important. Because from what he said during one of the other interviews is that she really didn't have any material, and I think that is one of the reasons why she doesn't want to create a new Fleetwood Mac record. I'm of the I guess belief that Fleetwood Mac would sell a bunch of albums if they put something out, just because they haven't put out an album in quite a long time. And I think people would recognize this is probably going to be the last in the canon, so to speak, with this particular lineup. And just for old time's sake, for nostalgia, to have one more work of art. And I know Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, and the studio technology that is available, I think they could put something together that would at least stand up, over time, and people might even enjoy hearing some new music from their musical heroes. I know the scene is starting to really go dark, and I'm going to do a video about that. I spoke to a record label president yesterday, and it was just a fascinating conversation. I didn't interview him, but we had a conversation over the phone, and it's really kind of sad what's happening out there. So in any event, for you Fleetwood Mac fans, hope is alive, and I would not give up on the dream of seeing Lindsey and Stevie on stage together again. And I got to say one more thing. Even if Christine McVie isn't willing to do this, the power of Stevie and Lindsey would be enough, I think, for folks to be really hyped up about another Fleetwood Mac album and tour. Again, I think you'd want to go out with everybody in the lineup, and not having Christine McVie there would be probably sort of like a little sour taste. And I'm pretty sure that she would have to agree to go on tour, and I'm not sure she wants to. And I'm not sure that John McVie wants to tour as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can recruit everybody back in. But definitely the skids are being greased, and mostly by Lindsey Buckingham. He's the guy with all the energy out there, right? He's the guy who wants to tour, who wants to sing, especially after all he's been through the last few years. I mean, at that point, why not just retire? But my guess is this: he feels as though being left out of the last tour doesn't put any closure on this, and I think he wants closure probably more than anyone else in that band. So that's my video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smack the bell for notifications, and don't forget about Patreon. You can join Patreon for like $1 a month. We've got a lot of patrons over there who are very smart people and who scour the internet for great content for this channel. So I appreciate all of you for doing that. Until next time, see you soon.